everyone give us a wave?
Start waving.
Start waving. My name is Catherine and I am from Michael's. We are so excited to have you all here. Go ahead, tell us where you're calling in from in the chat. We love to know all the different places that everyone is from. As always, we are so thankful for you just joining us for these classes, spending your precious time with us. We know this might be the 1 hour that you get to escape from work or escape from your kids. So we are so honored that you want to spend this hour with us to learn. I know you're definitely not here for me, you're definitely here for Joe. But as always, I am also so excited to have you here. Oh, wow, Virginia, Idaho, New York, all right, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Woo! We will definitely be recording this class. So if you are taking notes and you're worried that you miss anything, do not worry. We are going to record this. We will post this later on. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to dog Joe on anything, go ahead, put that in the group chat. We will make sure that your questions either get answered live or on the chat. Honestly, if you have the question, we bet somebody else does, so do not be afraid to ask it. There are no stupid questions here. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We know how precious your time is, and we are just so honored that you want to spend it with us. Times are crazy right now. Some states are opening back up, some are not. Our goal is to keep you making, to keep you creating, so we are just doing everything that we possibly can through these online classes and everything else. So without further ado, I am going to turn this over to Joe.
Thank you so much, Catherine. You did a great job.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for coming into another Zoom class by Michael's. Thank you, Michael's, for having me on again. I am Joe with Siser North America. For those that don't know who I am an educator with Siser. I love doing this kind of stuff because it gets a chance to talk with you guys. And obviously in these circumstances, we're all staying at home. We're all being socially distanced. I've been quarantined for a full 10 weeks, which has been chaotic. But we're making the most of it, and a lot of online education, which has been beautiful since I'm used to going to a lot of trade shows. So I may have seen you at a trade show. You may have gone to one of the trade shows. Lots of fun, a lot of things to show and learn at those. But unfortunately, they're probably not going to happen for a while. So I love that we're able to do this. And again, Michael's for putting this on. And I decided to get pretty crafty for myself. So I've been obviously doing a lot of great projects for Michael's and doing these classes. And they sent me this great box that it did house some things I'm going to use in future classes. But I was going to toss this box out. What do you guys think? Like a pretty bad, well, I was going to say something else. Pretty awesome backdrop for these Michael's classes. Let me know what you guys think of this background. Thank you guys for taking the time. I know this is probably a chaotic weekend, but it is a long weekend for some people. We have the Memorial Day weekend is here. And I just want to let you guys know real early on that Michael's does have an awesome deal with Siser products. Man, the lighting is crazy. But with Siser heat transfers, our Easy PSV, they have an awesome deal going on, 40% off until tomorrow. If you're watching this video later, I'm sorry, hashtag replay, that deal may have been passed. So you have until Saturday to get some awesome deals with Siser products at Michael's. They're still doing a wonderful job by supplying you with what you need for your craft projects on the daily. So if you need anything, the website is full of things. They have curbside availability. So Michael's is still happening. So thank you guys so much for being on today. And it's a long weekend. So that means you have a lot of opportunity for more craft projects. I'm sure you guys already have some craft projects working right now. Firstly, I just want to recognize what the weekend is about. It is Memorial Day. And just like all the people we are honoring right now that are at the front line, the healthcare workers and all the people that are doing their thing to protect us, that goes for what the representation of Memorial Day is. And that is for all the fallen heroes and for us to recognize and mourn and appreciate all the people, the heroes that actually put themselves in the front lines And so that's what this weekend is about. And it really, we do need to take the time to honor that and appreciate that for what we're able to still do on a daily basis, and for us to do our part and be safe, but those people that actually have risked their lives. So that's what this weekend is about. And that is kind of what this project I'm going to do. The actual design I came up with is to honor that. But the lesson today, I'm going to go over something that we get a lot of questions about at Siser all the time. And I guess my first lesson, for those that have been on here a few times, my first lesson always is how to properly pronounce Siser. So this S-I-S-E-R, that is pronounced Siser, not Siser or Sister, however you say it. So that's lesson number one. I always say that. So we make the heat transfer vinyls. We get the questions all the time of the full capacity of what you can do with some of the products. And one question we get kind of regularly is applying over seams. Now, and that's what we're going over. So the project I have today is on a female 100% cotton t-shirt. I already did the front here. And then what I did was this side. And it obviously went over the seam of this shirt. I hope you can kind of see it, but you got kind of get the idea of it. And that's what we're going to go over. And I'm going to use Easyweed Stretch today, because this is another topic that people ask. What products would you recommend for a project like that where maybe you can go over the seams? I always recommend Easyweed Stretch because it is our thinnest heat transfer vinyl. So the thinner the heat transfer vinyl, the more malleable, the more it can actually shape to the groove of the seam. Now, people ask, what about other heat transfer vinyls? Like, what if you use Siser glitter? What if you use holographic in those projects? And you can. It's just with the tendency of seams, the problem is they're more likely to stretch, expand, and contract. So the problem is when they expand and contract and the product is a little rigid, like Siser glitter, Siser holographic, thicker products, they don't stretch. So they don't really take on that shape. So you may have a chance of it to possibly crack or lift off of the seam, which could potentially take your whole transfer off. So I want to show you a project I did, like one of the first projects I ever did at Siser for myself. And I used Easyweed Stretch, and this was going on a cap. So this hat right here is like 6 years old. It's been through the ringer. But I just wanted to show you crossing over the seam of this 6-panel hat I have here. Just up at the top, if you can see that, this thin piece of Easyweed Stretch went over that seam. And over time of me taking it on and off of this gigantic head, it did cause it to snap. So the thinner that stem thickness is, the more susceptible it is to break. So that's one major part of this lesson that I do want to explain to you, that if you ever do apply the Stretch or any Siser heat transfer vinyls over a seam, make sure the part that actually goes over the seam is the thicker part, the thicker attribute of the transfer. Does anyone have questions?
Hey, Joe, we do have a couple really great questions. First question, does Stretch come in glitter?
So, no. It's a simple answer to that. We are working on variations of thinner types of glitter, and obviously we'll have to talk with Michaels to make sure those will be readily available when they do come out. But glitter, unfortunately, will never be as thin as Easyweed Stretch. And again, don't be discouraged to not try it and to actually apply over the seams. I just recommend that if you are putting it in areas that may get stretched a little bit more, to use a thinner product. And it doesn't have to just be Easyweed Stretch. I just have a little bit of a bias and I like it to be a little bit more form-fitting. You can absolutely use regular Easyweed, Easyweed Electric. Any of our other Easyweed family is completely fine over a seam. the very important thing, like I said, is to make sure that your stem thickness of the attribute that you are layering over that seam is as thick as you can get, right? Well, not, you know what I mean? Like out of the whole design, that thick part is what goes over the seam. Any other questions?
Yeah, so is there a heat guide, time, cold, warm peel for Siser products?
Absolutely. So actually, don't know if these are the tech sheets that come on the rolls of the Siser heat transfer vinyls that you get at Michael's. They do have the application instructions right on it, like how to apply it. It doesn't say, because I think it doesn't say whether or not it's hot or cold peel. We'll definitely work on that. But in case you do need to know, we do have an awesome app that you can download on your phone too. If you just look up Siser heat transfer vinyls, or Siser HTV on your app store, we have all of our application instructions right there. So it'll tell you whether or not the product is a hot or cold peel. It'll tell you what temperature to apply at. We'll tell you the duration. We'll tell you what kind of fabric we recommend to go on. And that's actually what these tech sheets have. And actually, this QR code that's on the tech sheet will take you right to the app. So that's another reason to hang on to these tech sheets when you do get your roll of Siser product at Michael's, because there's a lot of information on these. So that's where you'll find out whether or not it is. The only thing that we really don't have in suggestion-wise, and just gives me more reason to show you stuff and do more classes, is what products you can layer on, what products are layerable, how, you know, and we do have suggested layerable products, but there isn't really a chart. So I know we get that question quite often, but that is something that I talk about all the time, is layering, how to properly layer and whatnot. So yeah, the app is great for any of those questions. Any other thing before we go on?
Actually, yes. Which Siser product would be best for car decals, if there is one?
So Easy PSV is our pressure sensitive vinyl. So Michael's has another line from Siser called Easy PSV. So it is a decal vinyl, and that would be probably the best option. And I see that Christine already responded to that with the permanent vinyl. Our permanent vinyl it's got obviously a permanent adhesive. So you really do need to know that if you're going to put it onto your car, it's going to be sticking around for a while. It isn't like actual car decal material. That's a little bit of the higher end, and that's a separate world. But if you were looking to do stickers or any kind of decal, like on your windows and stuff like that, the Easy PSV line would be ideal. And we have a plethora of different styles, different colors and stuff like that that are all at the Michael's stores right now. So you certainly wouldn't use heat transfer vinyl. So that's, you know, today that's what we're going to go over. But yeah, great question. And so I have all my pieces cut. Another thing that the app has is recommendations on cut settings, which is very, very important to do when you are cutting any of our heat transfer vinyls, is to make sure that you do a test cut. Make sure that you have your machine, whether you're using a Silhouette or a Cricut or any other kind of vinyl cutter, make sure that your maintenance is done every time you use it. So be cautious of the condition of your blade. So one thing that people kind of forget, especially for those, how many of us that use glitter all the time? Glitter is great, right? But glitter has a rough surface, and what happens is the glitter ends up causing it to kind of file the tip of your blade down. So over time, the tip of your blade gets filed down, which causes your cuts to be a little bit inconsistent. So very, very imperative, detrimental to when you cut Siser Easyweed Stretch, because Easyweed Stretch is our thinnest, most stretchy, hence the name, product. That if your blade isn't in good condition, your cut is not going to look nice. And you may have experienced it in the past, and you may have seen like it looks kind of perforated. but what's happening there is your blade's in a bad condition to where it kind of skips over spots. So it's very important to check your blade periodically, make sure your cartridge, your blade cartridge is clean. Sometimes the cutting strips, make sure your mat's in good condition. All those things are very, very important to do before you use any of these heat transfer vinyls. So with Easyweed Stretch, people, I get this all the time. First off, when you load up your Easyweed Stretch or really any of our heat transfer vinyls, always cut with the shiny side facing down. So you're going to have the duller side is going to be facing up. You're going to be cutting your design in reverse. The shiny side that you're placing down is the carrier to your transfer. So you're actually cutting mirrored on the adhesive side. So with Easyweed Stretch, you really want to make sure that you dial in your cut properly, and that is to make sure your downforce, how much pressure you're putting down, is in good or is adequate. And I like to ideally slow the speed down. So what I tell people all the time that are having trouble cutting something, that sometimes if you cut too fast, especially with a thinner product like Easyweed Stretch, it has a tendency to kind of cut or to move over the area it's cutting a little too quickly. So you're not going to get that even cut all the way around, especially if you're going into sharp corners, anything that's lifting up. I always tell people to dial back the speed a little bit. The slower the speed, the more consistent it is to cut it. Any questions on that?
Can you use the stretch on any fabric?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that is obviously a big misconception, and I guess we didn't entirely think it through when we named it Stretch. We just thought like the product's stretchy, like let's call it Stretch. And people took it to heart to think like it only goes on stretchy fabrics. And I'm here as basically the representative of Easyweed Stretch, because everybody in my staff, they know that I love Easyweed Stretch. It's what I have on my shirt right here. It's our softest matte finish, very thin, but I use it on everything. And I wear a lot of 100% cotton t-shirts. Basically what we tell to people, and Christine just laid it out there, anything you would put Easyweed on, you can put Easyweed Stretch on. We just recommend that if you are going on something that is stretchy, something that has spandex or lycra in it, to ideally use Easyweed Stretch. So that is a great question. Don't be afraid to use it on other things outside of just spandex or lycra. Any other questions?
Are the materials affordable?
What's that?
Are the materials affordable?
Are they affordable? We got 40% off until tomorrow, right?
Yes,
I mean,
we do.
What's that?
40% off.
40% off.
Pickup. We have same day shipping on some items. So go to michaels.com and check it out, everyone.
Absolutely. So I'm weeding away my colors right now. So I nested my colors together, and I'm going to cut these into pieces. This way I utilize as much material as I could. I do get called out all the time because sometimes I'm a little bit OCD on the placement of things. So sometimes I leave a large gap, and I'll show you kind of with the royal blue sheet that just for placement purposes, I like to keep my distance. If I had a text at the top and the text at the bottom and then an image in the center, I'll usually just cut it, and then the center will essentially be waste. But I don't know, it's just me. I like to make sure that my placement is always on. But this case, I nested another part, so I'm going to actually cut that into 3 parts. So I'm weaving the Easyweed Stretch white right now. I do have the heat press. Now, Catherine, for those that haven't seen the heat press, can you tell them about this press I'm going to use?
Of course I can. And I know how excited people are to finally have heard a couple hints that we have partnered with Siser to create a heat press that we will be carrying at Michael's. And I can officially tell you without getting in trouble by the powers that be that this heat press will be available at Michael's in stores and online the month of September. So we are so excited for this partnership. People have been asking for this for so long, and
I'm
we are
so
so
proud of you
to bring
guys.
it to y'all.
I know. I've been waiting so long. I teased this one back on, what was it, Valentine's Day when I did the
Yes.
Facebook Live there. And I knew as soon as I was going to show that heat press that whatever I was talking about and whatever my lesson was just completely went out the window.
And it
Because I was
did.
like, as soon as I show this heat press, all bets are off. I have to remember where to cut this. I put a bunch of stars.
Yeah,
So
just to spill all of Michael's secrets, as Christine says.
that's kind of my job, though. I tease a lot of stuff, and then I get people excited, and then they get mad at me. Like I was the one that had to tell you guys about it, but I love it though because it builds up the hype. You guys are excited. I know you're stoked to see this heat press. I'm gonna pull it in here because I just kind of wanted to show you guys the difference. Now I just weeded, my two sheets of Easyweed Stretch. Very easy to weed. As you see, it is stretchier to pull off compared to regular Easyweed if you're familiar with that. But one lesson I like to show people, the other benefit of using a heat press when you guys can get these. I have this turned on right now. That's what we're gonna be applying with. So the heating elements up here, and I'm sure I'll have a whole class going over the ins and outs of this press, but I have it turned on. It's at 320 degrees, which is what we recommend for Easyweed Stretch. The heating elements up here, so certainly don't touch that. This is just the lower platen, so it's not hot, but it does retain a little bit of heat when it's closed. So what I like showing people, especially with Easyweed, is when this is on, I'm going to take my heated up upper platen, I'm going to close it, it's going to warm up that lower platen for a few seconds, and then I'm going to take my cut piece of Easyweed Stretch, and I'm actually going to weed it right on this warmed up lower platen. And I know you guys had, oh no, don't let it touch up the top there. But I mean, the weeding, how much easier and faster it is to warm up the lower platen and just do what I did. Like, see how much quicker that was? Now, it's very, very important to make sure that you have a good cut. Because if your cut was bad and you did that, you may end up lifting up everything. So my cut was good. As you just saw, that just saved me a ton of time doing that. Obviously, with the Easyweed Stretch and all the Easyweed family, it has a sticky backing. So this carrier sheet, use it to your advantage. So right there was one to make the speeding of the weeding even faster. If anything does lift up, you can simply lay it back down. That is another beautiful part about it. And then the hot peel. One quick, unspoken rule is if it does have a sticky backing from Siser, so something like this, the kind of unspoken rule is that it's an indicator that it is a hot or warm peel. So if the sticky backing, you know that if you press it, that you can peel it warm. So it's just kind of an unspoken rule, I suppose. But this is what I was talking about. So normally I added this little piece in the center here, but this has to get cut out. But if I were to just have the home engraved, I'm sorry, I know it's very wasteful for a lot of people, but I would have cut it like this, and all that center would have been a waste. But again, that's only because I like to make sure that I have everything lined up the way it's supposed to be, but I'm going to cut these down. So this way I listen to all you guys that were like, stop wasting all your material. I'm not wasting.
Hey, Joe.
Yep.
Will you make this SVG available? I think we have some interested people in it.
You guys want this one? You have to let me know. I want to see comments in this comment section. If you want this, I want to see all the yeses. Yes, please. Come on, let's get that.
Oh, we got a yes, please.
All right, we got a yes, please. All right. Yep, if you guys keep cruising with the yeses, I'll make sure that I'll hook up Michael's people. There you go. All right, I see him cruising in. All right, we're going to get pressing. You guys ready for this? I'm going to use this heat press. We're already set to go. I'm going to decorate the front. For those that have never seen heat transfer vinyl, I feel like there's probably some return customers in here that have seen the press in action, but I love showing it. Now, again, this lower platen is great, and I'm going to show you one of the capacities of using a heat press when I do the side to show you threading and how that will help you with pressure and to make sure that it's even pressure. So the first thing I'm going to do is test my pressure. Now with Easyweed Stretch, very, very important to make sure that you have adequate pressure. So if you are using a home iron or a Cricut Easy Press, that's okay. Just be careful with, be careful on how much pressure you're pushing down. You need to make sure you're applying enough pressure. So I always tell people, make sure you're on a flat, hard surface. I like to use a wood block, like just a regular cutting board. These are very helpful, and I'm going to show you another little thing to possibly use to help you on the seam with this. So important on very, very firm pressure for Easyweed Stretch. Again, it is our thinnest heat transfer vinyl. So I'm going to cruise along. I'm just going to line up as best as I can in the center and go through a couple different colors. So now what's really cool is how much you can actually knock out at once with this heat press. So I'm going to press two different colors here. Just want to make sure I'm as lined up as I possibly can. Now, cover sheets, people always ask, you can just simply use parchment paper. That's all I'm using right here. This works as a cover sheet. That's just to protect your upper platen. Now, what's great about Easyweed Stretch and using it on the heat press is tacking that down for 1 second. Oh, got to get enough pressure on that end. Sorry, that was off the press. Let's tack that again. Make sure you're all the way on the press. Now, 1 second tack that down. Now, again, that's only for the purpose to take off the carrier sheet, to avoid any shrinking that could potentially happen. But we're going to go back and press the entire thing for the full duration once we have our layers all applied. Now I'm going to apply this one, and part of this logo right here is actually going to be applied directly onto the red Easyweed Stretch. So I am layering where this star is on top of one another. Everything else is kind of right directly onto the garment. And just like before, make sure it's all underneath the heat press. And then you can tack that down for 1 second and peel. Oh, again, pressure. Tack that down for 1 second. Peel hot. All right. So I still have the one last bottom piece. I'm just going to take that down. Again, you really want to make sure your pressure is firm. I know you guys can hear that pop. That's where you want to make sure that you eat your Wheaties each day when you know you're using stretch, because you really do need to make sure your pressure is good. I can't stress that enough. Now I am going to go back, and again, I'm going to press for the full duration, because even though we just tack those areas down, I need to make sure that I go back and press it for the entire 15 seconds. So that is going to make sure that I cure each one of those layers to the way it's properly bonded to each other. And again, in this surface area of this heat press, you do have The dimensions are 9 inches by 12 inches. So you can really knock out a full front. This is obviously larger than 9 inches, so I have to press it a couple different times, which is okay, because again, I just did 3 colors right there, and to do that compared to using, you know, a home iron, you can get jobs done a lot faster. So what do you guys think? Here we go. Pretty sweet.
Wow, looks great. Oh,
What do you guys think? Cool. Now that's
oh, they're loving it.
right on top of it. That star is directly on top of the red part, so you can layer it. So that's to show you guys, this is the file you're gonna get, but we're not done, because the lesson is to show you something that's out of the box, super unique. It adds a little bit of edge to your shirt, I should say, and then a little extra flair. So the thing is, this seam, so we all know those seams that come on the side of our shirts. This is where people kind of get scared to press on them, do something unique. I love that look to it. So that's what we're going to show you here. Now, again, if you are using a home iron, it's completely fine to use. You just need to make sure that when you are applying over the seam, you are applying on flat, hard surfaces. So to lay this completely flat onto a table, I can already tell that the other seam on the other side of the shirt is going to give me uneven pressure. So I recommend using, again, you could use like a chopping block like this, which is something I would use to place inside the shirt. Now, I know that I have a flat, hard surface that's not going to be abrasive, and I can apply over the seam now. We also have out there, and maybe some of you have seen these before, and I think, Michael, you have pillows of sorts, right? Like some kind of cushion?
Yeah.
Yeah. So heat press pillows are another great option for this if you ever need to achieve even, consistent pressure. These are a great tool to use. Now I'm going to show you the benefit now of the heat press and what you'll be able to do to kind of utilize that bottom platen and to also utilize the other areas of your shirt. I'm going to actually thread. So if you see that, like I'm just threading that area that I want onto my upper platen or lower platen. So now on my heat press, I have only the area I want applied to, the seam. The other seam on the other side is off of the platen. So now I know that I'm way more confident to work on this to make sure that I have accurate pressure and it's even. So again, I'm going to just test the pressure even though I know it's good. And for those that don't know, and again, I'll go over it, but this is our pressure knob. So as I twist it clockwise, I'm increasing the pressure. Counterclockwise, I'm decreasing the pressure. So any questions so far? Okay. Sweet. I need to remember what how I laid this one out. So that's why I always make 2. Use it as a reference. All right, so again, I'm going to put these stripes over the seams. Now, again, what I said in the beginning of the class, make sure the area that's going over the seam is like a thicker part of the transfer. So in this case, I'm going to lay kind of perfectly in the center these stripes. So again, it doesn't really matter on your placement. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to kind of throw it on there because I think this design works any way you place it. And even when you have even pressure, 1 second tack. I didn't use a cover sheet. I'm sure someone called me out there.
I was going to.
Don't you? I didn't say Catherine called me out. It's like,
Just keeping you honest, Joe.
okay, so I am going to lay my red Easyweed Stretch over it. Cover sheet. Second tacks. So everything with the seams. Now the last little piece is the stars. Make sure I have that. And you could really do anything with this file too, and however you want to design it. Now I'm just going to press that for the full 15 seconds. That was my last layer. I didn't need to do a 1 second tack. Again, the important part about a 1 second tack, especially with 100% cotton t-shirts like this, is if you have a design that has multiple layers and they all need to line up properly, when you place each one of those layers under a high heat like this for 10 seconds, like what they might call for, what happens? Catherine, tell them what happens.
You're the expert, Joe. You tell them. They don't want to hear from me.
So what? It's the same. It's the same concept of you throwing your cotton t-shirt into a dryer. So when you throw it into the dryer, what happens? It shrinks. So that is why maybe you've done a project in the past, and when you get to your final layer, it doesn't line up the way it's supposed to be. And that is because this heat is causing the garment to shrink up just like it would in the dryer. So with that 1 second tack, it doesn't give enough time for the heat to actually shrink up your garment. So it's very, very beneficial to be able to do that, which is a huge part of the Easyweed line. Now, big reveal. I know it's probably going to be hard to see because, move this out of the way. It's probably going to be hard to see only because it is a black shirt, and but I can tell you, you can see the seam. Do you guys see the seam? I even got a star across it and the blue lines right there. So this Easyweed Stretch, because of how thin it is and because of my pressure, you can actually see that it formed inside of the groove of the seam. So now I know, I feel more confident to know that this is actually bonded. Again, if you go over that seam with a rigid product, a thicker product, there's probably no chance that it's actually going to fit to the groove of that seam. So the problem is there's still ways of water when you wash it to get underneath that transfer, which could cause it to pop off. That's why I really, really try to stress that Easyweed Stretch for projects like this is a fantastic go-to. Now here's full effect. Check that out, guys. What do you guys think? Awesome? What?
People are loving it.
Loving it?
Awesome, fantastic. Hey, Joe, there is a really good question, though. Should
Absolutely.
it be washed before applying that heat transfer vinyl?
Should it be washed?
Yes.
Is that the question? Now that is an absolutely up to you kind of question. What I always tell people that ask that is, firstly, is it for you? Because if this is your business, if you do have a small little business, ideally I would advise against washing a garment that you're going to sell. Most cases, people, you know, they want to wash it. They might be particular. So if that's what it is, I wouldn't recommend washing it. Now, if this is a craft that you're doing and you have a shirt that you do want to wash before, you can absolutely wash your shirt before you apply on it. Now, saying that, be careful on how you wash it. Avoid, especially if you wash pre-transfer, avoid using any kind of liquid fabric softener. So liquid fabric softener is a very big no-no when it comes to the adherence of the heat transfer vinyl. Because what happens is that liquid fabric softener, now fabric softener sheets completely fine, but the liquid fabric softener has a tendency to coat around the fabric itself, which will actually kind of deflect the adhesive from bonding. So don't use liquid fabric softener. Avoid using bleach when you do apply it. Don't use bleach. Just use standard detergent. Just wash in warm to cold water. Wash inside out, ideally, if you want. Drying is another questionable thing when the transfer is on. Just dry at a normal temperature. Don't go high heat, or just hang dry it. Hang drying can reserve the finish. Now, a product like Easyweed Stretch, like what I have here, it looks like ink. I mean, when you look at it from afar and you see it, like in some cases, it's even thinner than ink. I have a prime example of something that I always show people that don't ever believe it and don't yell at me. This is my personal project, but obviously, as you see, I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan. But this design right here, I did, and these are all Siser Easyweed Stretch heat transfer vinyls. So that's 5 Easyweed Stretch heat transfer vinyls. So when people see this from afar, they don't believe that it's what I just showed you guys with heat transfer vinyl. They think it's ink. They think it's all these other things. But this is where you guys get to wow them and do stuff that's incredibly intricate and advanced and however artistic you are. But I love showing stuff like this, because when people don't believe it, because again, what I tell people is this right here has been washed about 20 times, and you don't see cracking. You don't see what you would see with transfers like inks, where you see them eventually cracking or discoloring and stuff like that. That's the beautiful part about the Easyweed Stretch, is it keeps it. The very, very important part is the first steps we just did there, making sure our cutter is set up. And most important with all heat transfer vinyl is making sure that the application is correct. I mean, that like Easyweed Stretch, that's why I bring it up all the time, is it is one of our more advanced heat transfer vinyls comparatively. But please do not be discouraged by trying it and giving it a go. But I can't stress enough to make sure that if you are using a home iron or a easy press, make sure you are still applying pressure. That's a huge part of it. Will there be a gradient ombre type Easyweed? We may never know. I don't know. I'm sorry, Cindy. I can't answer that one. Because I feel like I'll either break some hearts or something, it'll come back to haunt me. So great questions. Does anyone have anything else about this project? Oh, not that one. About this project. Like I said, I whipped this design up. You guys let me know. I did see a lot of yeses, but I will give this file over to Michael's so you guys can absolutely make it. And I would honestly love to see you guys actually share the project too. So quick social media plug, in case none of you are following us on Facebook or Instagram, please find us. Just look up Siser North America. We got a Facebook page. We got a Facebook group, which is great because I do a bunch of lives and classes in that. So please feel free to join that group. Instagram, we're all over that. So when you guys make these projects and you use Siser products and you get it from Michael's, tag us both. Tag Michael's stores, tag Siser. We love to see what you guys do with the products and see what kind of inspiration we sparked in our Zoom class. So thank you guys so much. I really do like that you guys were digging this. So I hope it was an out-of-the-box idea. Great, perfect time right now. Like I said, you got till Sunday probably is when everyone's going to be doing their, I don't know how many gatherings we're really going to have, but I'm sure people are going to do something at the safety of their own house with people they've been quarantined with for a while that you're probably already so sick of seeing. But we're here, like I said, the whole moral of this weekend is to honor and mourn those that are befallen in the military, and my heart goes out to all those people and all the families that are affected by that. Absolutely. And so that's really what this weekend's about. And they call it it's like a decoration day too, which is kind of interesting, where they go and they decorate the graves of the military that have fallen, and with their own kind of decor and flags and stuff like that. So it is a time to definitely remember that. And so you're going to decorate your shirt and rep this for the weekend. Please promise me. Thank you guys so much. Does anyone have any last minute questions? I'm gonna let Catherine close it out. If not,
I mean, other than people really want your Breaking Bad artwork.
I can't do that. Sorry. That one's mine. I sometimes muddle the area of my personal stuff to like my job, so I can't do that one. Sorry.
Well, anyways, thank you all so much for joining us. Joe will be back, I believe, next Friday.
A
And
double header next week.
yeah, so I think we've got a Friday and a Saturday next week, the 29th and the 30th. So make sure that you sign up for both of those classes. We have a ton other classes being added daily, hourly. So make sure you visit michaels.com/online classes. That is also where this recording will be tomorrow. And that's where some of the past recordings are as well, just in case you missed those or want to go back and watch. And again, just thank you all so much for sharing your time with us today. You know, we love to see what you're making. Like Joe said, tag us on Instagram, Facebook, use the hashtag #MakeItWithMichaels. You might even see your creation appear in one of our emails or even one of our social posts. So, you know, we love to see what you're making. Lots of love for the heat press. We are so excited to get to share that with y'all coming in September. So thank you for your excitement about that. And we just hope that everyone has a really, really great, safe weekend. We know this is a hard time, but we are so glad to share this with you and be here for you and help keep you making.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Have a great weekend.